The room felt quieter than usual, not because anyone asked for silence, but because emotions have a way of lowering voices all on their own. When Donna Derby appeared on screen that day, there was something different about her presence. Not dramatic, not loud, just softer, like a warm sunset that knows it's close to the horizon but still chooses to glow. For years, Donna had been known for her effortless charm, the kind that didn't demand attention but somehow always received it. She smiled with her eyes first, laughed as if she meant it, and carried herself like someone who understood that life was meant to be felt deeply, even when it hurt a little. Bradley Walsh had worked with Donna long enough to recognize when something was off. He was famous for his humor, his playful teasing, his ability to turn even the most awkward moment into a shared laugh. But on that day, his jokes came slower. His laughter lingered a second too long, like he was holding on to it for comfort. Viewers around the world noticed it too. There was an unspoken tenderness between them, a gentle rhythm that felt less like television and more like real life unfolding in front of a camera that happened to be turned on. Donna spoke with grace, choosing her words carefully, yet still managing to sprinkle in humor, the kind that makes you smile even when your chest feels heavy. She joked about little things, about routines, about moments that used to feel ordinary but suddenly seemed precious. And Bradley, bless him, laughed along, even as his eyes betrayed the truth. He wasn't just listening, he was remembering. What made the moment so powerful wasn't sadness alone, it was love. Not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet affection that grows when two people share years of respect, laughter, and mutual understanding. The kind of bond that doesn't need explanation. At one point, Donna laughed at herself, brushing off the seriousness with a playful remark that made the audience chuckle. It was classic Donna, turning vulnerability into warmth, turning heaviness into something human. And Bradley responded the only way he knew how, with kindness wrapped in humor. He teased her gently. She rolled her eyes, the audience smiled. But beneath the laughter was something else, a shared awareness that moments like these don't last forever, and that's exactly why they matter so much. Donna spoke about gratitude, about how lucky she felt to have shared so many meaningful experiences. She didn't sound dramatic, she sounded thankful, and that, somehow, made everything feel more emotional. Bradley tried to lighten the mood again, tossing in a joke that earned a real laugh from Donna. For a brief moment, it felt like everything was normal, like time had slowed down just enough to give everyone a chance to breathe. That's the thing about moments like these. They don't announce themselves as important. They simply happen. And later, we realize they were unforgettable. Fans watching from home felt it instantly. Social media filled with messages, not of panic, but of appreciation. People spoke about how Donna made them feel seen, how her warmth reached through the screen, how her smile had been a small comfort on difficult days. And Bradley? He stood there doing what he always does, being present, listening, supporting, letting someone else shine, even when it cost him emotionally. There was romance in the way he looked at her, not romantic in the traditional sense, but in the way deep respect can feel almost poetic. There was humor in the way they exchanged glances, like old friends sharing an inside joke. And there was excitement, too, the kind that comes from knowing you're witnessing something genuine. As the conversation continued, Donna's voice remained steady, but her eyes shimmered with emotion. She wasn't saying goodbye, she was simply being honest, and sometimes honesty carries more weight than farewell words ever could. Bradley nodded often, too often, as if he was agreeing not just with her words, but with the moment itself. When the segment ended, nothing dramatic happened, no big announcement, no heavy music, just two people sharing space, respect, and a connection that had clearly grown over time. And yet, viewers felt it in their bones, because real emotion doesn't need to shout.
In the days that followed, fans replayed that moment again and again, not because it was sad, but because it was beautiful, because it reminded people that kindness still exists, that laughter and emotion can live side by side, that even when life changes, love and humor don't disappear. Donna Derby left behind more than memories. She left behind a feeling, a reminder to laugh a little louder, to appreciate the people beside us, and to never underestimate the power of warmth shared honestly. Bradley Walsh carried that moment too. You could see it in the way he spoke afterward, softer, more reflective, but still full of humor, because that's how he honors those moments, by continuing forward without forgetting. This story isn't about loss alone. It's about connection, about how people touch our lives in ways that linger long after the moment has passed. It's about finding romance in respect, comedy in comfort, and excitement in authenticity. And maybe that's why it resonated so deeply, because in a world of noise, this was quiet, real, human. If this story moved you even a little, take a moment to appreciate someone in your life today. Share a laugh, send a message, hold on to the moments that feel small now, because one day they'll mean everything. And if you felt that warmth through the screen, you're not alone. Millions did. Sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that simply remind us
As the days
how
passed,
to feel.
that quiet moment between Donna Derby and Bradley Walsh refused to fade away. It stayed with people in the strangest ways, while making morning tea, while scrolling late at night, while laughing at something that suddenly felt a little more meaningful than before. Donna had always had that effect. She didn't demand attention, yet attention followed her naturally. Her presence felt like a familiar song, one you didn't realize you loved until it ended and left silence behind. Bradley often spoke about laughter as if it were a language of its own, and with Donna, that language flowed effortlessly. They teased each other like old friends who knew exactly where the line was and how to cross it without ever hurting one another. There was something quietly romantic about that balance. Not romance built on grand gestures, but on comfort, on shared glances that said, "I know what you're thinking," and smiles that arrived before the punchline even landed. Donna would lift an eyebrow, Bradley would grin, and the audience would already be laughing. Sometimes Donna would pretend to be annoyed by his jokes, shaking her head while secretly enjoying every second. Bradley, of course, noticed, he always did, and he'd lean into it even more, playing the fool just to see her laugh again. That laughter mattered, because behind it all was a shared understanding that moments like these were rare, not because of fame or cameras, but because genuine chemistry can't be scripted. It either exists or it doesn't, and between Donna and Bradley, it existed effortlessly. Donna spoke once about how life teaches you to slow down, whether you want to or not. She said it with a smile, adding a playful remark that made it sound like wisdom borrowed from experience rather than regret. Bradley laughed, then paused, as if he realized she wasn't joking entirely. He responded with humor, but softer this time, less punchline, more presence. That shift didn't go unnoticed. Viewers described feeling like they were watching two people protect a moment together, not hiding it, not exaggerating it, just letting it be what it was, real, tender, human. Donna's warmth had a way of wrapping around people. Even when she poked fun at herself, it felt generous, like she was inviting everyone to relax, to breathe, to remember that perfection was never the goal. Bradley admired that. You could see it in the way he listened, not waiting for his turn to speak, but genuinely absorbing her words. That kind of attention is rare, especially in rooms filled with noise. Their conversations drifted between playful banter and quiet reflection. One moment they'd be joking about something trivial, the next they'd be sharing a thought that lingered long after the laughter faded. That contrast made everything feel electric. There was excitement in the unpredictability. Would the next sentence make you laugh or make your throat tighten just a little? Sometimes it did both.
Donna once joked that she had mastered the art of smiling through chaos. Bradley immediately replied that she'd also mastered the art of making everyone else feel calm while doing it. She laughed, brushing it off, but the truth hung in the air. She had that gift. As time moved forward, fans began to talk less about what happened and more about what it meant, about how Donna reminded them of someone they loved, about how Bradley's reaction felt like something deeply familiar, the way we all respond when we know a moment matters. There was no drama, no spectacle, just connection. Bradley continued doing what he always did best, showing up with humor, heart, and honesty, but something about him felt different now. Not broken, not changed completely, just more aware. Aware of how quickly laughter can turn into memory. Aware of how important it is to say things while you can. Aware that even joyful moments carry weight. Donna, on the other hand, remained wonderfully herself, light, sharp, warm, and unapologetically human. She never asked for sympathy, she offered presence, and that, somehow, meant more. Their final shared moments weren't heavy, they were gentle, full of small smiles, playful remarks, and a mutual respect that didn't need to be explained. And maybe that's why they stayed with people, because life doesn't always announce its turning points. Sometimes it whispers them through laughter, through eye contact, through a pause that lasts just a second longer than usual. This story isn't about an ending, it's about what lingers. The warmth Donna left behind, the quiet strength Bradley carried forward, the reminder that joy and emotion can exist together without canceling each other out. And most of all, it's about the beauty of being present. Even when it's hard, even when it hurts just a little, even when you know you'll remember it forever. If you've ever shared a moment like that with someone, a laugh that meant more than it should, a conversation that stayed with you longer than expected, then you understand why this story mattered. Because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply feel and let ourselves remember.